Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by to watch this review on the Sephora Pro Editorial Palette. I do want to preface by saying that this has sold out on Sephora.com. You can probably find it in your local stores. I also noticed that the email me option is still there, so that usually means they're going to restock. But I wanted to give you my thoughts and opinions, swatches, price point of this palette for those of you who are curious, for those of you who are wondering if the splurge is worth it. So let's stick this video out together and I will give you all of that information. Let's get started. Alright, so first off, the box comes like this, like I just showed. It does come with a kind of like a pamphlet to kind of give you ideas on what combinations to do. No pictures, just really instructions, and it kind of points out what shades. I usually don't use these types of things, but these kind of things are good for beginners, and when you have a palette of this size, it is kind of nice to be inspired with something like that, you know, because you can get kind of like writer's block. You can get, I don't know, eyeshadow block. It's happened to me before, to where I'm like, ugh, I don't even know anymore like what I could do to, you know, what colors I want to pair up. But that's the beauty of YouTube, because you can find incredible tutorials on here. Okay, so palette comes like this, matches the box. I've heard, or I've watched so many reviews on this, and a lot of people have said they love this holographic lettering right here. I am no exception. I think that's really neat, adds a good touch. And then it is on the back, just says Sephora Pro Pigment Palette Editorial. So this is the editorial version, that neon shade type version. I did not pick up either of the, I didn't pick up the warm or the cool. They just didn't, I don't know, they didn't appeal to me. And at this price, I was only going to pick up one. So you do get a removable plastic with the shade names. I know that's not everybody's preference. It's not my preference either. I prefer to have the shade names on the actual palette and throw these away. But that's not the case in this palette. You've got the mirror that's the full size of this back right here, which is very, very nice. And then you have got this beauty right here. Let me take you up close so that you can kind of see what that looks like. Neons aren't for everybody. I tend to gravitate toward neon and pops of color, so to me that I was just like, whoa. One thing, the Urban Decay Electric palette, I love that palette, and I do use it on the eyes, even though on the back and when that was released, Urban Decay had stated there's about 4 or 5 shades that they're not recommended for the eye area because they're neon, and neon shades are really not approved in the United States. I don't know what the reason for that is. I don't know if it can, you know, the pigment can damage your eyes, your eyesight. I'm just not sure. Now I try when I use the electric palette, I'm really careful to not get any fallout in my eye. I'm really careful to use like a base so I've got some sort of barrier, but I'm not gonna lie, I have used that on my lids. And when I take off my makeup at the end of the day, it has like stained my eyelid. Like the hot pink will stain my eyelid hot pink, and it takes a couple days to wear off. So I'm always on the hunt for a neon eyeshadow that is safe for my eyes. And so when I saw that this had released and that it has a hot pink shade, and this is an eyeshadow palette safe for the eyes, I was like, okay, I need to try this. So I did pick this up. I will say that they had it at my local Sephora. They had like 5 or 6. I said, I'm gonna think about it. I remember seeing it on my birthday, and my parents had given me a Sephora gift card, so I thought, okay, sweet, I have this covered, but I'm gonna think about it for a couple days. Make sure I want to plop down $68, that's what this costs, on an eyeshadow palette. So I waited, I went back literally 2 days later, and it was sold out. So grab mine online, and I will take you through thoughts after we go through swatches. So I will stop there. But just to give you the breakdown, this top row, which you may have already watched videos on this, but this top row, 4 of the shades are those kind of duochrome type shades. You've got several almost like packed pigment type shades. They're the more foiled, sparkly type shades, sparkly more than foiled. And then you've got quite a few mattes. This row right here is more your neon row, the second row, and then this next row, you've got a couple of really good pops of color, like this, you know, kind of aqua turquoise shade. It's a little darker than, you know, than I would describe that. But, and then you've got this kind of cobalt blue, and you've got this lime green. So a few pops of color there, but then you start getting more into the dark shades. And this last row are going to be more your sparkly shades. And then you've got that black, of course. So if you're ready, let's go through swatches, and then we'll go into details after that. Okay, first four are Porcelain, White Gold, Rose Quartz, and Juliet. Again, these last two being those duochrome shades. And they kind of all look similar on my, they all look like a white shade on my finger, but they're definitely not. So there you go right there. And actually, I'm sorry, those first three were, or those last three were duochrome shades. So this first one being your matte white, and then you've got your duochromes from there. You've kind of got like the gold duochrome, the pink duochrome, and then like a bluish duochrome. The next four are, and I should have said that last one was a green duochrome because this one is the blue duochrome, and it is called Moonstone. Then you go into a couple of shimmery colors. This is Ice, and this is Silver Coin. Then starting to get into the matte brights, you have Tangerine. So that's what those look like there. So right there, you've got, again, the blue duochrome, and then you get into this glittery shade, and then a foiled shade with the silver, and then that matte color at the top. Getting into my favorite colors, the matte neon pops of color. You have Amy, Eliza D, Tila, and Maisha. Go. So that's what those look like right there. Next up, you have got, let's see, Electric Violet, Addie, Champagne, and Jeffrey. I'm going to put a little bit more of that lime green on, so just notice that this is a double swatch. Just for your information right there. So this one up here, I did have to do a second pass on that one. Next up, you have Helen P, Grass, Sean, and Chris. I'm gonna go over this. Okay, so just so you know, I went over this aqua one with a second pass as well. This top one, which is the cobalt blue, you're going to notice it looks a little bit patchy. I'll give you thoughts on that here in a second, but just going to point that out since you can see that on the hand, and I know y'all will question. Let's start getting into some of the glittery shades other than this blue right here. So the blue is called Dinah. Then you've got these real pretty sparkly ones called Pink Quartz, Wendy G, and Lou. You know what I think of when I hear the name Lou? Does anybody watch The Mary Tyler Moore Show? I watched that growing up, and it's one of my very favorite shows of all time. I think of Lou Grant. So those of you who have watched The Mary Tyler Moore Show, are fans of The Mary Tyler Moore Show, you know what I'm talking about. But I hope no one's like, what is she talking about? I hope most of y'all are not, what is she talking about? Y'all are going to think I'm nuts. Okay, here you go. So you've got that blue at the bottom. Look how vibrant that is. And then you've got your sparkly shades up at the top. Lastly, we have Caroline, Hector E, David, and I'm not sure how to say that last name. Ilde, maybe? I don't know. This one is the black shade. And then this one, just to point out, is kind of like one of those old gold shades. You know, that MAC color that's called old gold, kind of like a green base gold. Okay, there we go. Those are your last four right there. Alright guys, now for the moment of truth to let you know my thoughts on this palette and to tell you if it's worth the price tag. So thought number one is most of the videos on YouTube are saying that one of the biggest cons about this palette are the kick up. Now, I will say it has some kick up, yes, but because I had watched those videos, I'm super careful about not like really digging my, like, you know, digging my brush in there. Like I pat it in and I don't get a lot of kick up. I will also say that most palettes that I have used with, you know, any kind of brighter shades, case in point, the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette from a couple of Christmases ago, that one has an insane amount of kick up. So this, you know, the fact that this has kick up, yeah, but you compare it to others, I mean, it's not anything, to me, it wasn't anything out of this world horrible, you know? I mean, it's something I had already experienced before in quite a few other palettes, and the fact that I had already taken note of that, I just gently, you know, tap my blending brush in if I'm going to go for a crease color or something, and I don't have that kind of problem. I don't know. So anyways, I think if you're careful and if you've already had that type of experience with other palettes, that's not going to be a deterrent for you. Second of all, you'll notice that some of the shades that I swatched on my hand looked a little bit patchy. I told you on a couple of them I had gone for a second pass. That lime green one and then this teal shade one right here. I had to do a second pass. There were a couple that I mentioned looked a little patchy. I will say they perform so much better on a brush than they do swatching. I know that sounds weird because usually it's the other way around, but it almost like, I found that they kind of clumped together with my finger, and then that's what created the patchiness. On the brush, I have absolutely no issues whatsoever. Now, for example, this teal one that I put in my crease, I'll zoom you in a sec, but that one I did go in 2 or 3 times to kind of build it up. Whenever I use bright colors like this, I use the NYX Milk eye pencil, or the eye crayon, or whatever it's called, because a white base will help these types of colors stand out that much more. It's a really inexpensive pencil. It's probably like $5. Mine has lasted me for so long, and it's awesome. It helps the shadows stay on, and it just helps them pop that much more because you're putting that white base under there. It's like that good white canvas. So as far as patchiness, I really haven't had that issue either. So if you saw those swatches and thought, oh, those don't look like they perform very well, I have had such a good experience using a brush with these. I have used this several times. I will say I've used some of these, the sparkly shades. I like to use them wet just because it helps them pop that much more. And I find that they perform very, very well. These types of shadows, though, these sparkly types that are kind of like a pressed glitter pigment almost, kind of like the Natasha Denona. They're those types that if you wet your brush and go in and it looks amazing and you try to keep packing on and trying to keep not blending out, but in a way, yes, you'll find that it starts breaking up and it almost starts, like the glitter starts falling off or the pigment starts falling off, and then it doesn't look as good. So these are the types that if you're going to go in with a wet brush, you want to be able to pack it on and just leave it at that. Don't keep working at it. Don't keep adding a second layer and third layer. Obviously, if you go in with a wet brush, it's already going to give you quite a bit of pigment and intensity. So keep that in mind as well. Do I think this is worth the $68? I really do. I'm so happy I picked this up. Again, the other two didn't really stand out to me as being a necessity. Not that this is a necessity, but just, you know, in picking one of the 3, this was my top pick. Again, I've told you why I like the bright colors, just because they pop, they stand out, and these you can actually use on your eye safely. So this is absolutely a good addition to your collection because you've got the neons, but you've also got those sparkly colors as well. So it's not like just a palette of strictly neon shades that you know, okay, well, meh. No, you've got kind of a mixture of everything. Now, I will say that you really, a lot of times, you'll want to pair this with another palette because a lot of these are going to be your standout shades, and you're going to want to use a crease color. I have been using this for my whole look the last few times because I don't mind putting neons in my crease, things like that. I've loved it. But if you're wanting to go with kind of one of these more neutral glitter shades or shimmer shades, you're going to probably want to use a neutral from a different palette. So just keep that in mind as well, that this is probably going to be paired with another palette to complete your looks. Not a bad thing. I own so many palettes in which I don't strictly use the one palette to complete my look. So You've heard this probably before if you've watched other videos on this palette. It is very heavy duty, like very sturdy. It's not cheap feeling. It literally is heavier than most palettes you will come across. And it's made with like a really good plastic. I'm not sure this is super travel friendly. I mean, but then again, I've told y'all also that, I mean, I don't expect every palette to be travel friendly. Holiday palettes, I love it when they go, you know, outside the box and just kind of do something big and flashy, because it's, you know, who cares if I can't take it traveling? I have others that I can take traveling. So just the fact that this is not travel friendly because of its weight and size, not a big deal. So I absolutely think this is worth $68. If you've been on the fence about it, I love it. Let me zoom you in real quick before I forget. I think a couple videos back I forgot to zoom y'all in. But I did create this look with this palette. I didn't really go neon. I went kind of that turquoise color in the crease. There is a shade that is like it reminds me of Blue Brown Pigment from MAC, even though it's not as similar, but it's what reminds me of. And then I used one of the like purpley shades in the outer portion of the lid. So it's not a bright look. I didn't go with a bright look today. But I just, in still wanting to kind of test out the few shades that I haven't used, I'm kind of trying to throw looks together that, you know, I have loved every single shade I have used over the past couple of weeks using this palette. I've used it most days, not every day the last couple weeks, but most days, and I've loved it. I'm super impressed, very happy with it. Some of them to the touch, yes, they feel dusty, they feel chalky, especially those neon matte shades, but that's okay because usually those types of shades will. I think neons are one of those things that they're hard to get really right and like creamy and stuff. So for example, this row right here does feel very dusty and chalky. Again, once you get into using the brush with it and not your finger, oh my gosh, you can't even tell a difference. They go on so nicely. Don't let the kick up be a deterrent, because this is a really good palette. It's worth your time. It is worth your money, even though it's a splurge. I didn't really feel it as much because I used a gift card, which I'm very grateful for. But yes, it is worth, it's pricey, but it's worth it. It'll last you a long time. You'll get quite a bit of looks out of it. So if you're on the fence about it and you think, oh, I think I want to pick that up, sign up for the email notification. And that way, once it comes back in stock, you're notified and you can pick that up, or check your local store, because like I said, mine did have them. So I'm pretty sure yours do too. All right, guys, let me give you the verse of the day before I let you go. Today's comes from Matthew 5:9, and it says, Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God." Okay, guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you're new to my channel, I hope you'll consider subscribing. I just noticed I forgot to put mascara on today. Who does that? That's only happened to me once, like in the last, I don't know, 5 years maybe. Oh my gosh, I feel naked now. That's what was, when I zoomed in, I was like, why does my eye look funny? Oh, so sad day. Okay, I hope y'all will consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned, because I will have another video up in the very near future. If you're looking for me on Instagram, you can find me at Michelle's Glamour. I'm still bummed about the mascara. Okay. All right, guys. Take care. See you in the next video. Bye.